Hello, I just drank a lot of soda and haven't brushed my teeth, so I hope you'll forgive me uh, if my chompers are slightly yellowish. If if I get one of those wonderful thumbnails where I'm smiling in a sickly manner, and you can see the bright yellow coloration of my teeth. Please forgive me. In the words of Bryan Adams. So I wanted to talk about um, some of the fallout on Twitter. Of course, it's on Twitter, um, and it's more. I mean, it's more generally a social media kind of problem, but it all seems to take focus on Twitter. Twitter is just where the cancer just seems to accumulate the most. And it's been that way for a while now. So I do have a fugitive Twitter account, which is not under my real name, just because there are a couple of people that I follow on Twitter that I think are worth following. But I make sure only to follow those people and not to expand my circle beyond into the blue check mark territory, because I just know it's just such a cesspool. So after the the Waukesha tragedy, the massacre, the incident the other day where a Christmas parade was interrupted when a extremist black nationalist who was obviously angry and upset at white people and wanted to strike a blow against white America, decided to drive his car into this what should have been a fun, joyous event celebrating, the local community, and where everyone should have felt safe and at ease, and kicking off the holiday season. Instead, it became this bloodbath where 5 people died and many more were hospitalized because he rammed into them with his red SUV. After this happened, you had a bunch of people on Twitter who were sore and salty about the Rittenhouse verdict, showing their asses in a really, really egregious way. And I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to refer you to any of these people who posted these things. Most of them, thankfully, received such blowback that they had to privatize their tweets. Unfortunately, I don't know if any of them got penalized or removed the way that it certainly would have worked if a white nationalist had crashed his car into a gathering of black people, and white people had responded in the same kind of manner that these people were responding to this event. But we all know double standards are ubiquitous by now. You surely are aware of that and are, in a way, used to it. While at the same time, still remarking it as obviously unfair and unequitable, inconsistent, etc. But the one that I wanted to talk a little bit about is a woman named Mary Lemanski. Now, I'll provide a link to her story because she was somebody who was more high profile. She wasn't just some average Joe lefty. She's somebody who held a position within the Democratic Party, some social communications director for the for a county in Illinois for the Democratic Party. So, whenever she was on Twitter, she was speaking in some kind of official capacity, and she tweeted some things that were absolutely abysmally outrageous, and even suggested that what happened in Waukesha was just desserts, that it was karma. It was that even though children died, children had to suffer too for the Rittenhouse verdict being what it was. She and others made these what were supposed to be satirical kind of comments like, oh well, he was probably just acting in self-defense, sort of making fun of the idea that Kyle Rittenhouse was acting in self-defense, when the testimony shows that he was surrounded by absolutely murderous, hostile, psychopathic people who were attacking him on all sides, and he tried not to have to defend himself with deadly force, but eventually that was what he had recourse to have to do. He even had one guy pointing a gun right at him. And yet you still have people saying, oh, yeah, self-defense. Yeah, right. So they were trying to make this sort of satirical joke like, oh, well, yeah, this guy, this what's his name, math boy, this Daryl, I can't remember his last name. I said it in the video the other day. In any case, the man that is now held in custody, that they were trying to say, oh well, he was probably just acting in self-defense, because it's just as outrageous to say that Kyle Rittenhouse was acting in self-defense when he was in a riotous situation surrounded by crazy people who were looting and terrorizing and burning things down and threatening him and attacking him. That whole line of satirical, trying to establish some satirical parallel just didn't work. It absolutely, in order for satire to work, it kind of has to have the bite of truth to it. There was no truth to these kinds of jibes or attempted jibes, but this woman, Mary Lemanski, she was fortunately forced to resign her post, and now she's pretty well gone into hiding. So I don't think that we should just think that the only people out there who ever get in trouble for anything are people who are on the conservative side, because there are in cases like this we see people saying absolutely ridiculous things, offensive things, mocking an incident where innocent people died in a most horrific way, were injured in a most horrific way, and they do. There are consequences. Now, of course, did she? The question always comes up. Did she just say what she was really thinking when she said those things? And now I don't know if she's apologized, or I don't know if she's taken anything back. I know that the organization that she worked for announced that she was being terminated, and that she attached that to her own Twitter page before, I think, just making her tweets private, or maybe just getting off Twitter entirely. But I'm going to take a slightly different approach in speaking about her and cases like her. Because, I mean, you can just sort of wear yourself out saying this person is so rotten, she's so evil, how could she have said these kinds of things. The fact is, people say all kinds of outrageous, awful things all the time. But it was only with the advent of social media that suddenly people felt free to vent, felt this sort of pull or this sort of temptation to vent in a way where their thoughts are broadcast everywhere and heard by a broad swath of people. Now, prior to social media, you just, things like this would come to mind, and maybe you would mutter them to a group of friends, and your friends would say, "Oh, that's awful," or maybe they would chuckle along with you and say, "Yeah, well, we better not, we better not let anybody hear us say that, or let's just keep that little joke between ourselves, or whatever." People are always muttering. People are always disgruntled, and they're always saying things. They're speaking their mind. They're something enters your noggin, and then you're venting your spleen to somebody out there. But with social media, suddenly you're given this microphone, and you're given this sense of what you have to say is you are being righteous when you say what you have to say, because especially if you're somebody who's been elevated to some kind of post. Now this lady was not anybody hugely important. Nobody really knew who she was before all of this happened. That is to say, she didn't become a household name of disrepute, mostly, before any of this happened. But the very existence of Twitter, the very fact of having a Twitter page, and the fact that we, some of us, covet fame, we covet notoriety, we covet being heard, being seen, having our words provoke others and having others take us seriously in that way. And so I think what happens, and I think this is an unfortunate, this is a tragedy that I think is part of the larger tragedy of social media. I think, on balance, the existence of social media is, I would say, the minuses outweigh the pluses. I think things would be better if it didn't exist. Now, does that mean that we don't have self-control over what we say, what we choose to say on social media? No, of course we do. We can, something can occur to us, and then we can think to ourselves, better not say that. This has happened to me quite a lot. Back when I was on social media, back when I had a Facebook page, and I had a fairly large Facebook page before I was zooked along with the entire affirmative right staff a couple of years ago now. But I had somewhere around 4,000 friends or followers. That they call them friends on Facebook, which is just absurd. But it, just because I don't really have 4 friends, much less 4,000 friends. But somehow it happened due to, I don't know, me writing stuff online and becoming somewhat known in certain circles, in certain corners of the internet. But I remember, thinking to myself, it wouldn't necessarily be over some event like this. That's the thing now. some news event takes place, and you feel like venting your spleen over this event, and you just want to go over the top and say something to to express the anger that you're feeling about it. For me, that was never really so much the temptation as it was just like if I was feeling personally down, if I was, not happy with the way things were going in my life. Usually if it was something of a more personal nature, and I felt, I would at times feel tempted to just, put out a Facebook post that was kind of nihilistic sounding, or kind of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh sounding, and I would have to temper it. If I was going to express myself in that way, I would feel the need to temper it so that whatever I was saying wouldn't come across as just really self-indulgent, and would hopefully have something kind of funny or clever about it. And I don't know if that I always succeeded. I'm sure I often did not. But I'm aware of just when you're given a microphone, and I think that's the case here. Even though this channel is not very big, not many people watch these videos, but I'm still aware of the fact that there's a temptation to say the things that you really shouldn't say, but that you're feeling like saying. And I think I've come close to that line, maybe crossed it a couple of times, but I've always been aware of it. I think I've been self-aware about it. But we live in an age where everybody's, it's just there is so much dissension, there is so much hostility, there's so much rancor, there's so much division, that people just want to let it all hang out. They just think, I am righteous, and the people who disagree with me are bad people. So I'm just going to say the worst possible thing, and I'm going to be righteous in saying this. Because I'm on the right side. I trust the science. I'm on the right side of history, or whatever. And I think that's what happened with this lady in Illinois, who was part of the Democratic Party for this county. I think she just lost control and thought that she was being righteous when she was saying these things that were obviously outrageously wrong. And I'm not sitting here defending her, but I am saying, I get it. I understand why these kinds of things happen, and I don't know what really can be done about it in an age, given that we're in an age of social media, and given that we're in an age that is getting nastier and nastier, seemingly as the days go by, as the hours go by. It just seems to get worse and worse all the time. We've got, people writing editorials saying why you should attack your right-wing friends, why the right-wing members of your family at Thanksgiving dinner. I remember that's what they were saying last year, or the year before. Use Thanksgiving dinner as an excuse to attack your Trump-tard friends. I remember reading articles like that. And I'm sure they're still putting those kinds of things out there now. I just think we need to cultivate a different kind of culture. But, it's easier said than done. How do you do that? I'm trying to do that on my own, just by, the things I write and the things that I post here. I obviously have an opinion. I obviously have a perspective. I obviously have a point of view, also in my writings as well. But I try not to do it in a way that will escalate, that will cause things to, I try to call out what needs to be called out without these kinds of egregious, really hurtful and in some ways sadistic attacks on on others who are completely innocent, like the crowd in Waukesha, Wisconsin, who just wanted to celebrate Christmas together, like they've done for years and years before, in this community affirming event, and to have it be to have their event be interrupted in this most horrific, awful, death-bringing way. We've got to work on the culture that we're creating, and I guess this has become more long-winded than I thought it would. Sorry about that. So I'll bring it to a close now. Let me know what you think below. Andy Nowicki, altrightnovelist.com.